Yeah, you having Shimalavalai? Yeah, I think it's aloe vera, Tom. I think that's what she wants on her feet, doesn't she?
God, two chicks, who have like hormones and stuff. Ooh, that can get quite fierce at times. But like, on the whole, it's good. She's gonna kill me. Scott, take that out. Take that out.
Greetings, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the Neutral Cider Hotel podcast. My name is Gabe Cook, and coming up a little bit later on the show, we have got a very special news of the day. Yes, indeed. We'll also be speaking to the UK's finest cider distributor, Alice Churchward, before wrapping things up with a tasting of the fantastic Thornborough cider from North Yorkshire. First, actually, it goes back to what I would normally include in the first bit. My name is Gabe Cook, author of Ciderology. Thank you very much. Let's see if producer Scott's on the ball. Oh, he's pretty fast. Nice one, Scott. I was called something else this week, but I didn't want to just lob it in there because it's going to take a while. Lovely Max Knoll from Steelhead Cider up in Dumfriesshire, up in Scotland. Hi, Max. Hi, Penny. I was emailing them for some research for my forthcoming book, Modern British Cider, coming soon. Thank you. And he responded to my email with the title, "Hello, Mustachioed Cider Sponge," which has made Martin
shouldn't have been drinking then.
Yeah. Mustachioed Cider Sponge. I mean, that's got a lot of syllables in there, full stop, which, and I wasn't necessarily sure how to react to this. I think, given that Max is a genuinely really nice guy, that he meant with good intent, but did he mean that my moustache looks like it's a sponge, or that, my moustache sponges up cider, or, I'm a moustache wearing cider expert who sponges off other people? Maybe I overthought it a little bit. But anyway.
Where did you end up? What did you think?
I ended up by naturally kind of going down the sponge hole, as it were, and went into Wikipedia and I did an inordinate amount of sponge research, basically. And I learned a lot of things, which I won't share with you broadly because it'll take too long. But I didn't want you, dear co-host, to miss out on such a cool AF sponged theme nickname. So I've assigned a couple for you. So here we go. Joining me as ever, it's Martin Goodwin Sharman, aka SpongeBob Cider Pants.
Oh, here he is. Thanks, bud.
That was unexpected and slightly disturbing. And also joining us, as ever, is Grant Hutchison, also known as the living embodiment of notable 19th century Austrian spongiologist Robert J. Lendelmeyer von Leidenfeld.
Yes!
And I didn't even make that up. Can you believe that? Robert J. Lendelmeyer von Leidenfeld.
I'm a dead Austrian guy.
You're a dead, notable spongiologist. I know that you are looking to. You're racking up all these ologies. I thought you might want to add spongiologist to the mix there. So there you go. Bobby J and SpongeBob. There we go.
Get the socials.
How about that?
Handles. Fucking hell.
God. I like it.
I'm having a great time. This cider's really tasty. Yeah. Well, just
energy, vibes.
So, SpongeBob, Bobby J, how's your week going, my friends?
Oh, mate, I feel rough. I feel ill. I feel like a sponge that's been left in a bucket of cider, and you've gone, that thing's still in there. I do not feel don't feel good. I feel a bit better now, but I went to see family for the first time in about a year. All our COVID tests, all in a garden, distanced. It was lovely. But I met my sister's fiance, and they know I like cider. And they bought a cider to kind of show that they like artisanal things, and thought of trying to pick one that they thought I wouldn't have. They came with this lovely 330ml bottle of Pilton's 10. And I was like, I blended that. I was just probably like, oh yeah, no, I look like a braggy dick. So I was like, no, it's fine. But just
that's amazing. That's a moment, isn't it?
Yeah,
isn't
that
cool? Did you take stock? Did you have a little contemplation?
It kind of pissed me off a bit because
this is an amazing moment, and you're pissed off.
And they were trying to be nice.
Yeah.
What's there to be pissed off?
No. So I was
no pleasing some people.
It's kind of proof that people don't read the label, because that 10, great, that's fine. But she said they've been selling this Pinot Noir cider in this shop, and everyone's loved it. It's their best seller. And it was on the table, and she went, yeah. She was like, hang on, is that yours? I was like, yeah. And turned around and she was like, that's your name. I was like, fucking yes, it is.
Yes, it is.
No one's read the label.
Well, also, I would recognize my siblings' handwriting as well. Maybe not on a bottle. Maybe you'd be like, oh, that's a bit weird place. But that's your handwriting,
who goes looking at cider bottles? Like, if you're not into the cider scene, obviously.
No, but
I don't tell enough of my family about this podcast.
No, presumably knows that you kind of are.
Well, apparently not. So that's kind of why I was pissed off.
Okay.
So big love to Tim and Lizzie for that, because it was fucking hilarious.
Tim and Lizzie.
Fucking funny.
Keep ignoring Martin. That's my advice to you.
Yeah. It'll serve you well in life.
And also, if you see any other bottles, one that maybe wrapped in black tissue, that's his as well.
Yeah, stay away from that one.
Yeah. If it's got some sort of unreadable hieroglyphs on there, it's probably his. Bobby J, what's been happening north of the border?
I'll get a couple of quick things out of the way. I have a new niece this week.
Hooray!
My brother had a little girl. So welcome to the world, Isla Francis. So that happened. I got my laptop fixed. Fucking brilliant.
Oh, hooray. Happy
Scott
news.
is doing a little dance in the room. You can't see.
It went.
Here he is.
Annoyingly, I took it back to Apple, and because it was a recognized fault with other models, they like switched out the whole keyboard, but they had to send that to the Czech Republic to do it. So it was away for like a week and a half. It was awful. But it's back now. And another great thing happened this week. The Cider ? Yes! ! Campaign from Nightingale kicked off.
Wow, it's like you were in Mad Men or something. That was amazing.
Good, wasn't it? Yeah.
Yeah. You
sold that campaign.
So inspired by Neutral Cider Hotel, apparently.
What?
Yes.
Wow, really?
So the idea for the Cider Yes campaign was off the back of our interview with Matt Curtis when we were discussing cider as wine, and how that encourages wine drinkers to explore ciders, because cider can be just as sophisticated and elegant as wine, and how fundamentally that's a good thing to bring new people to cider, but at the end of the day, cider is cider, and that's what the point Sam is trying to get across with his. He's done a sort of limited edition run of labels, which on the cans saying cider, yes, and that's 3 new 440ml cans, Falstaff, Bramley, Nightbird, Wild Disco. We tried them.
I believe it was the fastest drink I've ever drank.
Yeah, that's right. Listening back to the episode, wow. you had finished drinking the first one before
35. I think it was. It was
before
gone.
Sam had even actually spoken. I think possibly like you were actually drinking whilst you were talking in your introduction. And certainly those cans, and we unfortunately didn't have the opportunity. Well, I would say fortunately, we got the cans from Sam literally hot off the canning line, so it didn't have any labels on. And so to see them in their full livery, as it were, was absolutely magic. They're so bright, they're so bold, they look absolutely fantastic. They're precisely the kind of thing that cider needs right now.
I just want to do the campaign justice. Cider? Yes.
Yes. Yeah.
Yes!
Jesus.
Cider, yes.
That's the Scottish theme.
That's all our personalities summed up. Oh wow! But if it can do exactly what it says on the tin, and each one of those I would happily give to people that are novice, have no idea what cider is, or those that absolutely love it, and I can guarantee each one of them will be drank to the last drop. Absolute fucking bangers.
Boom. There we go. All right, that's it. We've soaked up enough time here already. Many more sponge jokes coming through the show. Now, let's flip through the telly and see what's happening in the news. And now here at the Neutral Cider Hotel, it's time for the news. I was going to call you Grant. That's not your name. Bobby J, Spongeologist.
Bobby J here. Bobby J here. Sponge correspondent.
What's happening in the world of sponges right now?
In a place known locally, I think, as England, pubs opened this week. Outdoor pubs with outdoor spaces were allowed to open. Yeah. I know. Well, that's why it's not. We're not celebrating up here, even when that can happen in Scotland, because it's not that common that places have that outdoor space. But in England, outdoor spaces, pubs with outdoor spaces are now open to serve booze to punters for the first time since I think Christmas Eve. Some of them. Or maybe even longer ago.
I genuinely can't actually remember the last time.
Yeah. It's been longer up here. That's why I don't know. It's been different all over the place. But yeah. So I guess that's an exciting thing. I first of all, want to say to anyone who is going to go to the pub, if you've booked your space or whatever, just be mindful, be respectful of the staff who have come back after probably quite a long absence. And that wasn't a holiday for them. There was probably quite a lot of stress involved in whether they knew they were going to get a job back or whether they were going to know how to pull a pint or serve a punter. And they're now faced with serving people in an environment that they might not feel wholly comfortable with. So just be mindful, be respectful if you are going to go out for a drink.
Mm-hmm. There we go. So pubs open. We're on in England, the roadmap to being able to get back to some form of social norms are on the way. Although, as Grant quite rightly said, that these are tense times, and so everybody take it easy, have fun, be respectful, and be careful. Anyway, Martin, what have you got for us?
So, bit of a change in the news here. Speak pipes in the news.
Changing it up.
Yeah.
Changing it up.
So we basically, on our news piece last week, we did the Hawks rebrand. And noticed as we were recording that a lot of the opinions were more divisive than ours. So it was like, let's just see how it goes and put it out there and put it on our socials to say, give us your thoughts. And Hawks actually retweeted it and put it on Instagram as well to be like, no, send them to our way. So let's see if there's no such thing as bad press. Scott, clip numero 1.
Hi guys, Stuart here. First thing I'll say is this is obviously better than the 4 Pure redesign and rebranding which happened earlier today, which is absolutely awful in my opinion. But it's difficult to feel the same way about Hawks when so many of the original team have moved on, and they were fantastic. But that's natural to happen in business. But more importantly, we know that we want every single cider brand to succeed no matter what. We just can't have any cider failing. But this rebranding looks more corporate than independent, in my opinion, which loses some of its allure. But we know it's what's inside the can that counts. Everything else is just smoke and mirrors.
Can't say fairer than that. Guys, what are we thinking to that?
Well, I mean, what did happen to 4 Pure? What will happen with the branding there? Like, is it gone really bad?
If you think that the black and kind of green gold of Hawks with the skull to this is kind of like a corporate shift, the 4 Pure one, they went, strip all the soul from the tin.
Oh.
Like it looks like a corporate guy had an idea for craft beer. I'll link it in the show notes and I'll send it to you guys in a sec. But
Nice.
He's just referencing like basically when you're trying to reach the supermarket kind of crowd and you're trying to go for that like easy recognizable thing. A lot of breweries do it where they go, oh, let's change our brand to be one typeface and we have a different color for each of the core beers. And it's now done so much to death that all of them bleed into the same thing.
Yeah.
And Hawks, the can itself without the sticker has that vibe, but at least it's got that pocket of branding there for me. Also, what he's saying about the original team being gone and sentiment echoed by a lot of people online, where it's like, who's making the cider is more important than what's on the can.
Sure. And it's absolutely fair and important that, it's the people as much as anything that is important within these drinks. And although a number of the people have moved on, there are still people there from the very start. We've still got Theo, we got Max, really, really cool people who
Hi, Theo.
Hi, Theo. He spent a lot of time learning the skills and giving them an opportunity to step up and to exert their kind of influence on things. So, hey, man, change. It's a constant, isn't it? And and good luck to them on their endeavors. We'll see how it goes.
Well, clip number 2, Scott.
Hi, Mike here, long-time listener, first time weirdly recording my thoughts for the podcast. Thought I'd weigh in on the Hawks rebranding chat. It's an interesting one for sure. Not sure I'm a fan of the new basic can design. It feels a bit too clean and clinical to me. Though I like the stickers, feel they're a bit better suited to the names and general vibes of the drinks. Though I'm not sure about the kind of apparently random sticker placement on the cans. I think the idea behind the rebrand is to be a bit more appealing to the casual consumer rather than evoking the kind of craft beer vibe that their old cans did. And I think they might have some success on that front. But at the same time, I'm struggling to see that they'll particularly stand out on the shelf, either the cans themselves or the slightly more colourful boxes. Though, wanted to say that I'm enjoying the new Pineapple Punch cider, though. Smashed a couple in the park the other day. Really good summer drink. And probably the best pineapple cider I've tried so far. All the others are typically sickly sweet or a bit artificial.
Well, sticker placement. Grant, any opinions on that?
Ciderologist coming up with a sponge to wipe them off.
Yeah, I mean, fairly random sticker placement. But then that's, like, he said, I can't remember the caller's name there. He said it might not, probably wouldn't catch your eye. I'm not sure. I think stickers are quite bold. Not that I agree with how great they look, but I think maybe not on a craft beer shelf, but in a cider shelf up against, what else have we got in that format or on that shelf? Weston's, Aspel, Henny's, like that's the sort of supermarket ciders it'll be up against. It probably does stand out, to be fair. I mean, if it's in those, this is the other thing, right? So it's with the can, but it's also the cardboard box that the cans come in if they're packaged on the shelf like that, because that's weird, because that's completely covered in stickers. And that was the first thing I saw when I opened the box, the sort of main box that they were delivered in. So, but yeah, and this caller likes the pineapple. I don't like the pineapple, but that's never gonna. It's not, well, it's true. It's just I don't particularly. I would never pick a pineapple cider. I just wouldn't. So that's not for me, So yeah, it's kind of that thing of, well, who's it appealing to, and if it appeals to those people, great. And I do think it will pull people in.
Well, in the same way that a lot of beer drinkers that I know who came into craft beer way later than me, my brother's a great example. He loved any grapefruit flavored beer. Like the idea of this flavor has launched on this whole thing. And it's literally that like first step. And it's like, yeah, grapefruit, blood orange beers. Those were the two kind of fruit ones. And then now they're all kind of like looking at, they can talk about yeast strains and hops. It's crazy. So if this does for cider, what that does, if it's a great gateway to say, you know what, it isn't that bad drink that you drank in the park as a teen and threw up. It's something that's like fun. And as Mike said, smash them in the park. Then if that's going to get them in, great. But is it for all of us? No, and that's fine. So, last one. Who's this handsome caller, Scott?
This is Cider George.
Oh, here he is.
Hello, my loves. Cider George here. Thought I'd check in my opinion on the Hawks rebrand. Everyone's talking about it. So, yeah, initially, I absolutely love it. I think the way that it's just a world apart.
Why is he running?
Crazy.
It's walking.
Very brave of them as well to really like ditch the skull, completely change the typeface. It's a big move. My initial thought was them stickers are very big, absolutely huge. So I thought that could be quite intrusive with information not getting seen. But been told they're removable. So that's going to help people see stuff, and it's going to be a bit of tactile. It's going to be tactile when they hold the can and whatever. Also,
fucking hell, George.
People peel
You're
them
walking
off,
down a dual
they're in the
carriageway.
park, stick them somewhere on their mate, on a sign, whatever. That's a bit of free advertising. Absolutely lovely. And obviously, they are Brewdog's child. Designed by the same people as well. Could be an opportunity for them to be the Brewdog of the cider world. Is that a thing? I don't know. Love or hate Brewdog. They know what they're doing. Yeah, we will see. Who knows? What do you guys think?
Did he say stick the stickers on your mates? Like up your friends and put stickers on them?
I think we found our next guest.
Yeah,
Yeah.
fucking it. George, honestly, I can imagine like driving along and calling the police in worry at this guy just on the dual carriageway, cider in hand, heavy breathing.
Sticking stickers on his mates.
Yeah, there's a guy just wandering down the hard shoulder of the M4 or the A4, just kind of like, sheesh, look at that. George, thank you very much
Thanks,
for
George.
allowing us to hear your
But we
dulcet
should
tones.
say, for people who don't know, George is a graphic designer. So
He is.
has a very it's a very good insight to hear him speak.
The tactile element, like he said, about taking it off, because it's the first thing I did. But again, if you're in a pub or whatever, and you're like going into the bathroom after a few, you can imagine a load of them on the hand dryer. That's like classic example of like, oh, let's spread the branding of it, which I didn't even think.
Nah, didn't think of that. It's a very good point. And they are aiming to be the Brewdog of the cider world. I mean, that's 100% what they're trying. I mean, I don't think anyone at that company would even deny that. And I think we have all agreed that potentially the cider needs that, someone like that who's going to take a brand to that level to bring it to more people, to bring the drink as a whole to more people. Again, they'll come across they'll come across people who maybe don't like the way they do it, same as Brewdog have. But I think, as I've said before, doesn't fucking matter what we think, because they're going to do it anyway. So.
Well, it seems that they've entirely nailed the job. Number one, to step away from the sort of previous branding, which was slightly different ideology, slightly different people sort of at the helm. So to have a complete shift and to do something that stands out, and that wasn't a complete kind of botched job like the 4 Pure possibly, or something that was just grossly wrong, grossly offensive. That's like, oh no, that is a massive mistake. It's not a mistake. It's just different. It's a bit bold, a little bit out there, potentially divisive. And what does that do? It creates lots of opportunity for discussion and debate. And here we are having an entire section on the Neutral Cider Hotel all about it. So I suggest probably not a bad job.
Well, Facebook, quickly reel off some of the comments. Ricky Lovett, they posted a GIF of Simon Cowell going, "It's a no from me." And someone said, James Waddington said, any particular reason? They said, to me, the original design was iconic to Hawks and made them stand out from the rest of the pack, especially on the supermarket shelves. This new design looks like it's been thrown together or is the first draft of a new concept. And I think yes and no. I think it's going to stand out more on the shelves of the supermarket. Yeah. But again, different strokes, different folks. Damon J. Sawyer says, it's strange to say the least, very abstract. I know you have people like Oliver's who focus completely on the product and not the label, whereas some places have art gallery stuff on their labels, but weak product. This seems like a haphazard attempt at meeting in the middle. I don't know. If their stuff was available in my area, I'd buy it regardless, but that's unlikely despite the boom of Brewdog beer that has appeared. So yeah, it's good that there's a conversation and bad press, no such thing. At least people are talking about cider in circles that I didn't think they would be.
Yeah, and they've made themselves a part of a conversation as well. When I've seen stuff online, and the Hawks have been responding and engaging, and that's important. And I was quite pleasantly surprised by that in response to, they put up on their website the only urban cider in the UK. Quickly, that was jumped upon, and they admittedly they said, sorry, we've taken that down. Like, there's no way that they actually thought they were. They were just like, fuck it, we'll just get away with it. But they didn't. And
I also like Duck Chicken being the ones that said like, excuse me.
I know we're only little, but
guys, we've got one more call, and this is from a sentient computer.
Okay, cool.
So I want to play that one for you.
Hi, is this Hawks Spa and Salon? Love your new redesign. Can I book a cut and blow dry for 7 p.m. on Wednesday the 14th of April? Would also love to grab some cans of pineapple shampoo and conditioner. Really need to salvage my curls.
Really need to salvage my curls. I mean, what a fucking joker.
That
wasn't you,
good.
Martin.
Nope, swear on my life. I heard it, and I literally was like, because if it was me, I would want there to be pauses between the stuff. Because when I first heard it, I was like, "What the fuck is this?" But now I've listened to it 3 times. I'm like, "Yes, genius, absolute piss taker."
I love it. So you can't find out who that is at all.
Nope, it's sent from anonymous.
Well,
with no contact.
Well done, you.
Anonymous, if it was you, if you want to claim your prize, let us know who you are, and we'll send you a very nice cider soaked sponge in the post. You
he's already got one, isn't it? It's clearly Tom Oliver.
Oh, that's true. It is.
Our Hereford correspondent.
Use that technology, does he? Come on, he doesn't know that.
Siri, send a voicemail.
All right, there we go. That's going to do it for the news this week. Hawks rebrand covered. Coming up next, our chat with UK cider distributor extraordinaire. It's Alice Churchward. It's time for this week's interview. Joining us at the bar today is a pioneer of distributing craft cider from across UK's rural environs right into the heart of the City of London. For the last decade, our guest has championed cider across all styles and pack types, from super traditional to uber modern. And now that the tap room is about to reopen once again, the best cider spot in England's capital city, Trap, can be found once again in Walthamstow. Checking into the hotel, it's Alice Churchward from the Real Al Company.
Hey.
Calm down there, Gabe.
Hello.
Sorry, yeah, that was very exciting. That's because
you're excited to have me.
Welcome, my friend. So lush to have you here
great to be
at
here
the hotel
in this beautiful lobby. And
what do you think?
Well,
what do you think to the decor?
It's lovely. It's lovely. I'm not wearing my mask. Is that a problem?
Have you got a cough?
Yeah. I've got a cough. I've got quite a tight chest, and I'm feeling quite hot and sort of sweaty.
Can't smell this cider.
Yeah, I can't smell or taste anything, but yeah.
You're just describing me on most days. So, yeah.
Thank you for having me. It's just great to be in the room.
Now, awesome. We've just been talking about Hawks and their rebrand, and I see that you've got a can of it in your hand as well.
Well, I was there last week. Dropping some stock off. Yeah, saw Theo.
Nice.
Mr. Cider Maker Theo, and he gave me a 4-pack. So I gave 3 away, and I'm drinking 1 myself.
Was that wasn't your payment for dropping things off, was it?
Yeah, 50%.
It's just a cider swap.
Yeah, exactly. But no, I'm enjoying it, and I thought it was relevant given that it's come up in this session previously. I think was it two episodes ago you were discussing.
Well, and actually
the label,
this episode,
yeah. About 10 minutes before this interview, we were chatting the exact same thing again. So we're running out of content, clearly.
Nice. Do we have some beef? I feel like this is quite beefy.
we just keep giving Hawks like promo. They're just sitting in their marketing meeting going, the fuckers fell for it.
I know. They could do with the airtime, couldn't they?
Yeah,
do with a bit more cash.
Boss, we've got 12 more views on Neutral Cider Hotel. Oh. We're making a world of difference chatting here. Fucking hell.
Should I show you just on that? I don't want to hijack this meet, but I thought maybe I'd bring another couple of interesting ciders to the table from my local shop. This one is Black Ace dry cider, which I felt compelled to buy because it's named after a stripper that we once hired for my friend at university, Black Ace. That's nice. He stayed over actually because we hid his keys in the freezer, so he couldn't leave. So he stayed over on the sofa.
Also, no, that's keeping people hostage. That isn't someone stayed over. So within 5 minutes of this conversation, you've taken a stripper hostage. Go on, what's next?
Well, we've got Black Ace's slightly sort of more chilled out cousin, Just Ace.
Just Ace,
yeah, exactly. So
that was in your shop, Alice. You got that from your shop that you...
Yeah. Huh? The Turkish guys around the corner, all they sell is basically this and the Colonel. It's like they've gone for sort of one extreme to the other. So I drink both and enjoy both equally.
One thing we were speaking about earlier was the fact that pubs are sort of opened in England now. Have you been for a drink?
I was supposed to go for a drink earlier, actually, at the Hackney Tap, which is the Bloomsbury Leisure's new site over Mare Street Way in the town hall. So they've got Bloomsbury Leisure, Euston Tap, Piccadilly Tap in Manchester.
Oh, nice.
Resting Hare, Holborn Whippet, a bunch of sites in London that have done brilliant things. And Martin will know them well, no doubt. Yeah. And so they've got their new tap over in Mare Street. But I didn't make it because I hurried home to be here on time.
Thank you very much.
I was going to ask you what you drank, what you had to drink.
I would.
Black Ace.
Well, if it,
yeah, of course.
I obviously would have smuggled my own can of Black Ace in, but in the absence of any Black Ace, I probably would have just gone for a really fucking refreshing hoppy beer to start. Sorry, guys. I probably would have just done that and then seen what the terrible cider options they had available and chosen the best and very bad punch.
Well, it links to your place, the Trap, in that there's a lot of beer that gets sold there as well. Sure. And there's the same at Clapton Craft. We had it where you sell ciders to people, but they also love the local beer scene. So what's it like selling cider to people that want beer or beer to people that want cider? Yeah,
sure. It's a good question. I think Crafty Apple is our own brand cider that we're pretty proud of, and it sort of started out as something that I thought, oh fuck, I should probably come up with like my own keg product because everyone's just drinking Orchard Pig, and I think maybe there could be scope for something else here. So started out as sort of something quite small that was just an addition to what I was already doing, and actually there was a lot of demand for it, and it was kind of getting asked. I was getting asked about it more and more and more, and so we then put it into bottle. And now Crafty has become like this real mainstay. And particularly in Waltham Forest, you see where we're based, we get a lot of people coming by and just being like, give me 4 pints of crafty, otherwise I'll like melt in front of you, evaporate. And people come around literally like shaking, like looking really grey and ill, and they're like, I don't have corona, I just need your crafty apple.
I mean, they do well up here by the sounds of it.
So I kind of find there's a really interesting divide of people that turn up and they're like, I fucking hate cider, it's rank, I drank way too much of it when I was 15 and I just really want a lager. And I'm like, yeah, that's cool. I've got a lot of really nice lager. We work with 40 Foot, 1 Mile End, ELB, like really good mates of mine. And, we'll always do good lager and good beer. But, I find that there are kind of 2 quite strong categories. And they rarely will mix. So you've got the real cider heads and then you've got, the beer drinkers and that's fine with us because, we enjoy both. So, yeah.
So you mentioned crafty apple there.
Uh-huh.
Do you want to talk a little bit more about that and what that is and why? Because
I don't think it's made from concentrate, but I
wasn't going to ask you that, but yeah.
I'm kidding.
Name every single apple.
I know, I wasn't asking for an ingredients list.
I'm kidding.
What's your opinion on the terroir of crafty apple?
You literally went, that sounds good. That'll be good for Scotland. Can you tell me what is in it so I can make it? But it is a good point, like you're saying. No, people might not know it. I know it because I've drank it, but what is it? Yeah.
Yeah, so it is made from 3 popular Herefordshire cider apples. It is the fruits from orchards in Putley,
nice.
Which I'm told is the best terroir in the world. That did come from the cider maker
Someone
himself, though. Yeah. So
these are the best cider apples I have in my garden right now. Thank you very much.
I will buy them all. How much do they cost?
Come on, Alice. You're not gonna get away with not naming those 3 apples. Come on, what you got?
So we've got Ellis Bitters, and we've got Dabinet, and we've got a bit of Red Streak in there.
Oh, cheeky.
Yeah.
Very nice. Good blend. Good blend.
So, the whole kind of crafty apple thing has really enabled us to move the business forwards in a way that has been really positive because when I first started doing what I'm doing, it was very much like bag and box, as Martin remembers, obviously buying a shitload at the Cock Tavern, so crafty has kind of opened some doors for us, which has been a really nice thing.
Well, you alluded to it there, but about it sounds crazy now, but about 8 years ago, I took over the Cock Tavern, and it got to a point where we were buying from a load of little cider suppliers. For anyone who doesn't know, it has 8 bag-in-box lines for real cider. And then it just got to being you supplying it because the range at the time, I can't imagine now looking back and getting like Oliver's Gold Rush and Once Upon a Tree and stuff like that readily available. How have you seen the market change before and after that? Like, what's the big difference for you?
Yeah, it's mad, isn't it? To kind of
fucking insane.
It really is. So it's kind of gone. It's sort of gone in 2 directions, I guess. A couple, more than a couple, a handful of cider makers have dropped bibs because they say they can't be asked with it. It doesn't sell well enough. It's time consuming. The margins aren't good enough. They'd rather just go with keg and small pack. And then you've got sort of Tom Oliver, on the other hand, who will just never, ever let bib die. Like he will put everything he has into bag in box and other, formats as well. But, I have so much love for a bag in box. It's like my trusty old mate that kind of helped me through the shit times and sort of got, they were rough times. Oh, God, so bad.
If anyone's looking to get into cider, they're actually not that bad times. Please, we need more people selling and making it.
Yeah, so I don't know if that answered your question or not. It's just kind of
doesn't matter.
ranting.
Loved it.
Yeah, I don't know. Sorry, it's all this black ace.
Do you think there are new people drinking cider because it's in keg?
Yes, I would say that they are. I think that there are still those people who are like terrified of cider. Like genuinely, they find it absolutely like just shocking to think anyone would ever want to try it or drink it in any kind of volume or at all.
Why? What is that?
Because they either drank way too much of it when they were 15. Farmgate stuff in a polypin, just knocking it back 10%, violently ill, stomach pump, never want to touch that shit again. And then I think also just the rep, like cider hasn't been cool, it like I never for a minute actually when I got into cider thought, oh, this stuff's not very cool, just because it just was like the natural, it was a natural thing for me to do. I just didn't want to go back to my old life. So I was like, oh, fuck it, I'll just sell cider then. Like it's the best thing out of a really like bad range of options. So
where did your passion for cider come from? Better than shoveling shit? Yay!
Pretty much, yeah. It was either that or sell Scotch eggs for the rest of my life. I was like, oh fuck, okay, fine, I'll do cider.
I mean, that sounds not too bad either. But is that because you're from Herefordshire? You're from Herefordshire, correct?
Yeah, that's right.
So is that is that why you have always felt that
the cider thing?
Yeah. It's a love that you've grown up with, it's been part of your...
If I'm completely honest, I wouldn't say that that's accurate.
Right. In it for the money?
Yeah, clearly.
Chose the wrong industry.
I was going to say, share some of that wisdom with me. Fucking hell.
What inspired the love then?
So the kind of abbreviated story is that my dad is involved in a really awesome brewery in Shropshire called Hobson's Brewery. And it's like a medium-sized, very, very green, sustainable, cask-led brewery, which has kind of gone into keg as well, but they'll always be very committed to their traditional range of cask, mild, best bitter, etc. And they've done some collabs with Brew by Numbers as well. So they're like, they're pretty cool, but they're trad. And my dad invested in them. And I quit my job in sports marketing because it was pretty miserable. And I moved from London back to Herefordshire, where mum and dad are from. And I said, oh, fuck it, I'll just go work in that brewery for a bit and just like clean some mash tuns and, go out like delivering stuff and just sort of see what this like beer malarkey's all about. I wasn't a beer drinker. I just basically drank shots and like university style beverages. Like that's what I was interested in. And
I love it. And you've grown up and now you drink Black Ace.
Exactly. Such sophisticated.
I'll have a pint of absinthe. Thank you.
So yeah, loved shots, didn't like beer, didn't like cask beer, but thought, oh, well, like, let's give it a go. And slowly grew to absolutely love it. Love this kind of, this industry of just like clever, nice, funny people who didn't really make very much money but were just so passionate about what they were doing. And so I thought, actually, I kind of feel like this could be something I want to do. So started off by delivering casks to London on a weekly basis. I'd literally deliver 6 casks to, do you know was it the Brickmakers Arms in Putney? Amazing pub. It was one of my first drops. And the White Horse in Peckham, in Parsons Green, sorry. And so I'd drive like 6 casks up in this little Postman Pat van. And I'd get back and I'd be absolutely knackered. I'd be like, wicked, I've made like 20 quid. That is awesome. And I'd be like absolutely thrilled. And
shots are on me, lads.
Anyone for an absinthe?
Black Ace for everyone.
And then I realised actually I'm not going to make any money out of doing this. People in London, they quite like the Hobsons, but they also really love London beer, and I need I need to sort of beef up my offering. And my dad said, oh, there's this bloke called Tom Oliver who makes quite nice cider. Why don't you get in touch with him? And I was like, all right. So rang Tom Oliver, who was obviously in like a hotel room in Singapore, like
delivering cider from his suitcase.
Yeah, lying on like a chaise longue, waiting for calls, and yeah, he was just lovely as he is. I just said, hey, would you be up for me selling your cider? And he was like, yeah. Brilliant. And that was that, really. He was really supportive. And then came Ross on Y. It was Mike then. Before Albert, it was his dad, Mike. So it was basically me and like 10 really old blokes, like just hung out. But I hope they don't mind me saying really old. They're not really old, really. But you know what I mean.
They are.
Older.
What were some of the challenges you faced trying to get these ciders into the bars in London? Initially, because it can't have been easy.
No, it wasn't easy because no one gave a shit. This was sort of 8 years ago, and they gave.
That's so long ago in terms of cider.
It is, isn't it? It is, yeah. So like keg cider, craft keg cider didn't exist at all, and there was just a small range of interesting bag-in-box, and it was just a case of literally banging the door down and just being so pestery and annoying. And then you get like what?
I didn't mean to agree.
You get She was. You nailed it. It's true. It's totally true. And do you know what? I would have hated to have been a like 45-year-old bloke trying to do what I was doing. And I am sure that people were nicer to me because I was like a 23-year-old female who was just kind of, like, please give me a shot. Like, let's just do it and see what happens. And actually, most of the time it worked quite well. And if I put the cider in there and it didn't work, then I wouldn't pester them anymore. But I felt so sure that if they gave it a go, like it would be good. And it was. Yeah. It was great.
Well, you were kind of case in point. You proved the point, really, because like a lot of people, they have that image of over 50 white guy. So when there's a young woman who's fun and has good chat, who's got the good product as well, it wasn't like, oh, I'm buying her stuff because she's and the cider's crap. It was all great and you were lovely. So when people would see you come in, they want to chat to you. It was just like lovely. And so much so, like, to explain the keg thing, I remember you and I desperately trying to get kegs of cider and having one producer who shan't be named have about 11 kegs before we got one that would even pour. And I can't imagine the market now from how far away that was. What is keg to you now? Like, what's keg cider?
Yeah, it's just mad, isn't it? When I think back, and I remember like supplying some festivals with bag-in-box, and sometimes someone would say, oh, do you do keg cider? And I'd be like, I barely know what keg cider is, because it felt like such a beast, felt like something so far away from like innocent little bag-in-boxes and still bottles of stuff that, carbonated bottled cider wasn't even a thing then, really. So yeah, it just felt so technical, I suppose. And then I guess, the obviously kind of crafty entered stage left. And then a few more started to hit the scene, and it's just incredible. Now you've got all the Kentish Pip stuff, the Silly Moo stuff. And not only is it like it's all delicious, it's all really varied and complex as well. You've got some like really interesting bone dry stuff, some kind of really tannic stuff, some really acidic stuff, some really easy stuff, but that's well made. And it's really opened the category up. Sort of for people to experiment and experience it, kind of, I guess beer drinkers now can be persuaded to try at least a bit of it because it's easier than a bone dry bib, so that's been great.
You're obviously a big champion of sort of traditional styles of cider, but also those presented in kind of modern ways and the expression of different apple varieties in different regions. But what part, as part of your sort of portfolio and the ciders that you're getting into pubs, do flavoured ciders play?
Oh, I mean, everyone loves a recordling and a Copperberg, don't they?
They do.
And praise be to the flavoured ciders, because it's not for me, but it is definitely for a lot of people. And it has made my business commercially viable. And Grant, as a like fellow distributor, I know that your range is more of the kind of 750 sort of sharer styles, and I'm not sure even if you do flavored stuff, but for me, it has enabled us to actually like make a bit of money because we can sell volume. And the Cider range, for example, and thanks to you, Martin, actually, that kind of elevated us as well, because it was you who said to me, oh yeah, there's this stuff called Cider. I think this is the bloke's name. Got in touch with him, and within sort of 6 months, the business had gone to sort of doubling its turnover because of Cider.
You're welcome.
Thanks, dude.
There you go.
But it was a pivotal moment, really. Cider and Crafty Apple happened in the same year, and it was a mega year. And as you guys know, I'm sure Cider comes in bag and box, but it's got sort of the 12 options, 10 of them are flavored, and people are like crack addicts on this stuff. It's mad. Like, can I say that? That's terrible, isn't it? Scott, take that out. I think you
just did.
Scott, edit that. That's awful.
No, it's staying in.
What's interesting about that is, like, I'm not, I try and not be a snob about cider, but and I don't have any flavor stuff, but I do have ciders that I think, okay, this will be the one that sells over the ones that sell less and will be what bring in money.
Mm-hmm.
How was that ever a kind of was that ever something that you were unsure of, like, in terms of the quality and the flavors and bringing that in, or were you just like, no, I need this to be able to shift the stuff that I really care about?
Yes, it's an interesting point, and it was something that actually I was thinking about earlier whilst I was delivering. I still haven't got out of that bloody driving seat 10 years later. Still chained to the steering wheel.
Have I got 10 more years of this shit? I was like, oh no, I'll stop.
Your daughter is going to be driving that van. Your first van.
You can drive when you're 7 in Scotland, so that's fine.
Same in Herefordshire.
It's an interesting one. So, like, I guess I had to make the decision sometimes to whether or not, like, I wanted to make money or whether I wanted to sell a product that had like a lot of integrity. And I suppose finding a middle ground between those two is where we've settled. And it's, it's like I was saying to Scott earlier, I think sometimes perhaps Ish, who should get a mention here, my partner Ish, who's been absolutely awesome in helping me elevate the business for the last, we've been together for 6 years, and she's been actively involved for 5, and we now work together on the business full time. And, it's like, I think sometimes maybe we feel a little bit like, oh God, we really should be like getting involved in the kind of restalk, fine cider style kind of play. But actually for us, I think we just want to sell like good booze to pubs, pour pints, get through it and sell good quality stuff, but sell volume in packaged as draft. And I think we've settled on a range that is really well made, but isn't sort of too difficult or complex or, I get really scared that stuff's going to sit around for ages on the shelves and I'm going to have to pay for it and I'm not going to have enough money. So I've got to have some like easy sells in there. And I think that's where the kind of the Cider range, comes into its own really and can be pretty helpful.
The Cider, as an example, was like, I remember trying to get samples from him. I cannot remember the guy's name, but
Matt,
so he was, was like, oh, I'll come by. I've got a wedding soon there, so I'll drop off 2 bottles for you. You can try. And he never turned up, and I couldn't get back to him. So it was like, can you please chase this up? But it was because the brand was so strong that I was like, as a pump clip, I want to try it. But for me, and I've told the guys this in the last few weeks actually, where like having a line of cider that's fruited, I could turn over 8 bag-in-box on that line for every one of the others. Yeah. But that meant that I could buy Once Upon a Tree's 7% like clean, crazy one, and then have Oliver's Gold Rush and not have to worry about essentially the GP or the stock of it, because I was buying 3 times the amount of cider as the previous manager and selling 4 times the amount. So it was like those kind of decisions of turnover. They may sound a bit like, oh, it's a bit fruit cider. If you're selling it to people who want fruit cider, great. But if your only option is sugar, it's a bit like I'm sure we've all been in pubs where you're like, they've only got one cider on and it's crap. But I'm glad that something like that stood out in the range and actually helped us sell cider.
Yeah, absolutely. Because you'd rather have a cider on that's like, it's fine, rather than a cider that's really shit, you know?
Yeah.
That's a business model right there.
Do you want the shit one? I've still got it in the car.
Yeah. So you mentioned that you work with your partner. Have done for 5 years.
Yeah.
How's that?
Yeah. Oh,
How
interesting. She's a she, so yeah, that happens. So you know, God, two chicks, you know, who have like hormones and stuff. Oh, that can get quite fierce at times. But like,
what are you doing?
On the whole, it's good. She's gonna kill me. Scott, take that out.
Staying in.
How is it working with your partner? And you led to women have hormones. No,
I know. I was kind of like, what did I ask? Did I call you a bird, or were you like? Why are there 4 tits in this business? I don't like.
Oh God, poor girl. She sat downstairs innocently watching Line of Duty, just no idea what's going on up here.
Just like hearing that. Oh, they sound like they're having fun.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm not objected.
Shit. Yeah. Oh, but yeah, she's mega. She's so.
Is she as passionate about the product as you know, like, or was it kind of like, well, I'm doing this business thing. What are you doing?
So actually, Ish is a bigger cider drinker than I am. She, to be fair, I'm more adventurous, but she would kind of go into a pub and drink multiple pints of cider, you know, and absolutely love it. So like, she loves crafty, and she loves the kind of, you know, the Turner's range and the Silly Moo and whatnot. She loves sour beers as well. So she's definitely got an appreciation for a good blend and a good product. But her like absolute passion is like the look and feel of products. So I'm not sure if you've seen. Actually, we just had our front doors painted 2 days ago. So we've got sort of the front doors of our tap room are now covered in our branding.
I was going to say, I don't know where you live.
Yeah,
so.
have you seen us number 18? Yeah.
Don't know if you've seen, but we've just laid some flooring upstairs.
Well, actually, that preempts my question, which is going to be: tell us about your awesome tap room. Tell us about Trap.
So Ish really is the brains behind Trap. So she came full time into the business when we managed to secure the lease on our now tap room up on the Ravenswood Industrial Estate in Walthamstow, which is a kind of a well-known part of the area because it's home to 3 other booze businesses. So you've got Gin Palace and 2 breweries. And then you've also got God's Own Junkyard, which is a sort of multi-generational business, which houses neon lights. They put a bunch of lights up outside Selfridges and Harrods, and it's just amazing handmade
and
stuff.
for like movies
awesome.
and stuff as well.
Yeah,
they've got
all of that.
It's quite a destination actually.
Yeah.
This little place you got.
Yeah, it's great. So we somehow managed to get the lease for that place, and we've just sort of just gone for it bit by bit, you know. But it's been great, and we managed to get a premises license just about. That was a bit of a struggle, but we've got our booze license, and the place has gone from strength to strength. So yeah, we plan to put a mezzanine in to increase the capacity because it's a popular little place. The distribution is the kind of the main moneymaker, I guess to say, but the tap room is definitely sort of getting more and more raking it in more and more, which is a good thing.
Raking it in.
So,
We just print money. Yeah.
I couldn't think of a nicer word.
Alan Sugar.
Blame the bookcase.
Alice Sugar.
Alice Sugar. Yeah.
Alice.
Well, the thing is as well with it, and you said Ish is responsible for that kind of look and feel. It's a stunning place, and it's like
Thanks,
really
Martin.
striking.
Thank
But
you.
also, and we've mentioned Crafty a few times, but that stood out immediately for the label, and it's in keeping with your stuff. But how have you found ciders that you've sold over the last 10 odd years change in look and feel?
God, yeah, it's just mad, and I'm sure you guys will all agree it was. It was shit. Absolutely, it's slim pickings to say the least in the beginning, you know. And I think I didn't realise quite how shit it was until I started seeing, you know, this stuff they call craft beer. I was like, oh, this stuff looks really nice, and why do I have to have the horrible stuff? And like, suddenly sort of dawned on me. And then you'd go to these sort of cider festivals and, you know, the odd cider event, and like there was a vibe, and you just think, ooh, it's a bit of I'm like the youngest person here by quite a long way. And, you know, we've got some work to do here, people. And I felt that the makers were lovely people, but they were just so obsessed with the product, the contents of their bag-in-box or their bottles, that they were just not thinking enough about how that product was brought to market or how it looked to people. And, you know, I was trying to say, people in London don't really give a fuck about what it tastes like at this point. This was 8 years ago. They really don't care. As long as it's like, doesn't taste like vinegar, they'll have a pint of it. They'll have a pint of it because it looks good. And it's slowly gotten through, like hammer and chisel. Hammer and chisel.
Hammer and chisel.
I'm doing this. And you know, yeah, it's thanks to like people like Felix. Actually, I think Felix has done an absolutely cracking job with Tom's stuff. Thank God. You know, Felix has rebranded all of. You know, I know Tom was obviously so happy with how Felix made his bottles and product look, and has obviously kept that on. And I think it's a great idea because it just looks so smart. And he's obviously done some great work with some other producers as well. And you know, as we move forward, we're being presented with samples all the time that look so much better, just more thought out, contemporary. You know, I don't love all of it, but like I love a lot more of it than I did. So yeah, it's positive for sure.
So Alice, tell us what other exciting things are going to be happening for the year ahead for the Real Ale Company.
Well, we've got some irons in the fire with our crafty child. So she's going to be packaged in some different formats. Oh. She's going to get some brothers and sisters. So she's
exciting.
She's which is pretty cool. So it's all sort of in the pot at the moment, not actually in any sort of vessel, but you know, in the melting pot that is my head.
It's melting quite rapidly by the sound of it.
It's definitely a melted
between
head.
Myself and the marketing department, we're working on it together.
And Ted Hastings from Line of Duty. Get it
exactly.
sorted.
So Crafty is going to be sort of expanded and developed, and Crafty as well is currently being carried by Signature Brew, who are working to sort of establish some more permanent lines in various sites in and around London, and Crafty is part of their portfolio, which is pretty sweet. We've also pitched to another couple of breweries to have it as that part of their portfolio. But I'm very kind of protective over it, and it will only ever be sort of really distributed by us, and it would never be something that we just chuck on Amazon or, you know, kind of
or to any other distributor in another
that's
country.
That's right, or Ibria. We totally would have done Ibria, but they said we weren't allowed. So
really?
Yeah, they went up for it. They said that we were competitors, and
what about Restock? Seems like a perfectly good distributor that could handle your.
Yeah, do you need a Scottish distributor?
I think it's a bit nice for us. We're a bit like, you know.
You don't know him that well. Don't worry.
I know
That's how everyone talks about Grant.
He's a horrible bastard once he gets
No, I think his range is too nice for us.
Oh, I
don't think it's
he was
smart
too
enough.
nice. Oh,
I want that.
Put a suit and tie
No,
on.
I'm kidding.
Oh my god!
I don't want to be that. I don't want to be that seen as that person. Like,
well, look, just get a couple of cans of Ace in the portfolio and a bit of Diamond White, and you'll be good to go, my friend.
That's it. Yeah, no, because then we'll be competing too closely with each other.
True.
Yeah.
God, it's hard work, this side of distribution. Like, I'm glad I just talked about it.
It's exhausting. I know. So that, and just basically crack on, you know, more sales. Sell is the plan. The van's out sort of 5 days a week, really. We probably do about sort of 50 to 60 drops a week. And I would love to get that. Like, I don't know if we could double it, but I want to get up there this year because we've missed 12 months, you know, and I just feel like this is our year to really get things moving, employ a couple more people maybe, but I'm not looking for an empire. I find managing people quite tiresome. Like, I don't really enjoy HR, and neither does Ish. So we don't want tons of people, and it's, you know, not looking to like sell it for millions or anything, but just as long as we're enjoying it and it's fun and we want to get up and like get cracking, then, you know, that's what it's all about, I think.
Amazing.
And the tap room side of it is great. I really enjoy just standing behind the bar, like talking shit. It's fun. It's nice.
Well, dude, here's to a summer with enough sun to justify everyone that's on the fence to buy a pint of cider, and if not, a trap from a pub that you distribute to. So thank you so much for joining us. It's been an absolute fucking pleasure, mate.
Oh, likewise. Thank you, guys. You're all so welcome to Trap anytime. And actually, Scott, Ish and I want to come to California, so maybe we'll give you a knock.
Yes, please do.
That would be awesome.
She knows where you live, like so she will come knocking on your actual door.
She's seen.
I know what your bedroom looks like.
Your front door,
You've got the painted front door, right? So. Just before we wrap up, tell us, for anybody who's listening who wants to learn a little bit more about the Real Al Company or Trap, where did they go on the interweb to find out a bit more?
So www.therealalcompany.co.uk. Go on there. We've got Instagram, Twitter, all the stuff.
You got it all.
My mobile phone number. Feel free to give me a call anytime.
Not now though, because she's going to be going to bed. Fucking
No, I will watch Line of Duty and then go to bed and have this.
Finish off the Ace. Good choice.
Finish off the two aces. Nice one.
So there we go, Alice. Thank you so much for joining us. What a hoot, as ever. And we will look forward to seeing you again in the future. Cheers, my friend.
Cheers, bud.
Thank you so much.
Bye.
Loved it. Cheers, guys. Peace out.
And so now here at the Neutral Cider Hotel, it's time for our cider tasting. This week's offering comes to us from North Yorkshire in England, not somewhere that is classically associated with cider, but as the maker of the drink that we're about to taste will attest to, there is actually a really, really long heritage of growing apples and making cider. This is Thornborough cider from North Yorkshire, as I said, near Ripon, and Kingsley Ash is the cider maker. He escaped London and went out to the countryside up north to seek the good life and found some apple trees on the estate around him and started making a little bit of cider, and that's gone to a slightly larger scale. And now he is a producer of fantastic, naturally sparkling ciders. And the other main reason why we're trying this is that he's the recent recipient of the Sanford Orchards Breakthrough Cider Maker Award, of which I participated in, and we'll tell a little bit more about in the moment. The other guys are giving me the evil eyes. They want to open up the bottle, so I'll stop talking. Nice.
Whoa.
Just look at that.
Beautiful.
Bottle open, sparkling bottle, cork and wire. Grant doesn't spill it everywhere. Thornborough, you win. Well done. Congratulations. You've got a listing in Grant's shop. You haven't really. He didn't know that.
I know.
Gabe,
I don't. And you can't embarrass me like that.
Next time we have a guest, Grant, you go, oh, right, you've got a chapter in Gabe's book. So there you go.
You got a feature, right?
Yeah. you got a splash page. First off, the smell is fucking delicious. It's proper. I mean, yeah, the carbonation's doing wonders, but it's got that kind of like little rhubarb acidity. It just smells like really fresh, like really good.
Yeah, I think he's got the balance. You know, the amount of the amount of carbonation that's in the natural carbonation coming from that secondary in bottle fermentation. It's really nice. It's light and brisk. Those bubbles are small and lean, and it's giving off those sort of really nice herbaceous kind of grassy hay barn kind of characters. It's very, very appealing. Makes you want to tuck in. So
very
cheers,
spring.
everyone.
Very
spring has
like,
sprung.
It is very spring.
Just like
cheers.
Soham's cloves. Cheers. I mean, I know we've just been giggling for about 2 hours solid in a hot room, but that is going to go down a treat. Like I've literally just had to go, slow down, because that is crisp, really clean, crisp, fresh. There's a little bit of that prickly kind of nettly texture and structure to it, but it's just like chewing like fleshy apples. It's just moreish without being heavy in any way.
It's got that kind of fennel herby thing going on, which we've tasted a couple of times in certain other ciders. But it's maybe the blend of dessert fruit, but also there's a little bit of cider fruit in there as well. Kingsley has planted up some cider apple trees, West Country cider apple trees up in Yorkshire, and the orchards are starting to grow.
It says on the bottle.
There we go. A little bit of fruit. So that's helping to provide a little bit of that sort of dusty kind of tannin and a bit of structure.
Yeah, because I'm getting a little bit of that on the finish, that little kind of damp wood, that kind of mossy dampness that I think cider fruit, generally cider apples blended with culinary apples, you get. I always find that, and it's initially I'm not always sure about it, but as it settles down, it's really nice. And it kind of it brings something other than just the straight acidity of a dessert apple cider, you know. And it's got that texture and that depth that you might not get if there wasn't some tannins in there, you know, just on the finish.
Do you know what? I would sit this happily between, and I know you've mentioned the fennel and that, but for me, this sits happily right in the middle between Nempnet Thrubwell and Nightingale's FB.
Yeah, nice. It's got some of the briskness and the freshness, but it's got a little bit of the rustic isn't the right word. That would be a slightly sort of derogatory kind of term, but it's just got that slight fuzziness around the edges that makes it just really appealing totally and enjoyable.
What I was meaning, yeah, like that. It is a roughness, and that's nice. That's nice. Like I like that. You know, that's what I feel is kind of. It's that thing of it not being too complex and too much of a fine cider. It still has that, like Gabe said, the roughness around the edges and that farminess that I think brings you in and really makes you remember, well, this was made from apples that were pressed and grown and just kind of brings home everything about the process of it, you know, which I think is important.
Mm-hmm.
You know, Kingsley's he's a one-man band, and he's been going for several years now. But you know, because these are classic ciders, they are vintage ciders made just once a year. This is probably his 7th or 8th time making cider ever, and there's always so much to learn, especially when you're doing quite a tricky process of this in bottle fermentation. And I think the ciders taste better and better year on year. And you know, these were all hand disgorged a la volée, so you know, the turning of the bottle upside down and popping off the cork. So there's a tiny little bit of sediment in the bottle. It's not it's not perfectly clear. There is that sort of quite nice little haze on there, again alluding to what you're saying, Grant, about this nice sort of slightly easier approach to a bottle fermented cider.
Can I jump in with maybe a couple of horses there?
Double horse.
Well, so first one.
Wait. Let me get the horse out of the stable.
Whoa! Just two.
Triple horse.
Just two. First one.
One of us has to walk.
First one being your use of the word vintage there, which I think might be good to explain, because I feel like, again, we talk about language around cider a lot, and that's a word that's used on a lot of bottles with very little explanation as to what it actually means when people talk about cider.
Yeah, good shout. Vintage, in terms of cider, can be approached in different ways, and it's part of the challenge and the confusion. But classically and sort of technically, it's like it would be utilized with wine, which means it's of a particular year, a vintage pertaining to a year, a single year's harvest. And is normally accompanied with with that year of harvest that was on there. There comes some confusion because some people utilize the term vintage to mean a particular approach and style of cider, big and bold and broad, maybe aged for a period of time. And some guys in Herefordshire back at the end of the 19th century who were doing an encyclopedia of apples, Doctors Hog and Bull. They talked about apples which had vintage. That's not funny. That's their name, Scott.
That's not funny.
Hog and Bull.
It's funny to me.
They coined the phrase that there are certain apple varieties that had vintage qualities, and they meant mean that they were really, really good and tasty and strong.
But is that because they had the qualities to make a vintage cider? Like, is that where the confusion in the language comes from? Like, ciders that are that big and bold were usually done as vintage.
But all ciders would have been done at vintage by that point. There was no other methodology that you could keep apples back or do anything other than make cider once a year. They utilized the term vintage to mean the best apples, basically.
Okay, so they confused it.
They fucked it up. Hog and Bull,
okay.
Bastards.
Well, and the second horse, Grant, what was that for?
À la volée.
Are you okay? You're not having a minor medical condition
that's
there,
my best
are you?
French accent there. No, à la volée. À la volée. That was awful as well. I sounded...
You having some à la volée? I think it's aloe vera, Tom. I think that's what she wants on her feet, doesn't she?
God, Christ.
Aloe volée.
It sounds stupid, any accent I say it in. À la volée. That's a footballing term.
Have a banana.
Did you see him at McCoist's à la volée? That was fucking brilliant, man.
So when you do a full champagne method traditionnel cider, you do a first fermentation in a tank. You then place the cider into a punted bottle, a champagne type bottle. Add some sugar and yeast and seal it with a crown cap, a very strong crown cap. And it undergoes a secondary fermentation in the bottle, but you want to get rid of the yeast that is deposited as a result of that sort of secondary fermentation. And the sort of the most basic method of doing that is called doing it à la volée, which translates as on the fly. So the yeast is deposited in a just above the cap at this point because you've inverted the bottle; it's upside down. And you have to sort of angle the bottle, keeping it downwards, and then you raise it up quickly, and then you flip off the cap, and a little bit of cider spurts out, but taking the yeast with it. And then you can sort of top it up and put a little bit of sugar in there if you want to, seal it again, and you still keep in the vast majority of all of the sparkle. So it's just the sort of the simplest and the easiest way of getting rid of the gubbins in the bottle. And it's a bit of a messy process, but lots of people do it, and it's quite the skill to the art.
Well, I think Getting the gubbins out of the bottle. I think we need to get the gubbins out of this episode, guys. I am absolutely pooped. And what a cider to finish on as well. Like really like clean, great example of striding two different kind of styles. It doesn't have to be the most technical and like over the top and 20 quid a bottle. And it doesn't have to be the cheapest to the pound a pint kind of thing. This is lovely quality and fucking so easy to drink.
Yeah, and just to finish on and say that it was the winner of the Sanford Orchard's Breakthrough Cider Maker Awards, which I had the opportunity to be on the judging panel. We were presented with ciders from about 7 or 8 different producers who had put forward their product and their business to be considered, and the prize was not only sort of the recognition of being recognised as a great smaller cider maker, but good on Barney and good on Sanford Orchards for providing a bit of financial support and a bit of marketing support and a bit of sort of like cider technical support as well. And this cider maker was chosen partly because they already we could see and taste that they had a real grasp of how to brand their products and also how to make their product. And we just think that with a bit of help and support, this could be a really, really fantastic cider maker for the next kind of few years ahead that could be being talked about alongside the Little Pomonas, the Tom Olivers and the Ross on Wise that we do so frequently on this show. So congratulations to Kingsley and to Thornborough Cider.
Yeah, congratulations.
Well, there we go. That seems an appropriate point to cut the show. Thank you to Alice again for joining us for a fantastic chat. Thank you to Martin and Grant, SpongeBob, Cider Pants, and Dr. Robert
I think Bobby J.
Lindelbaum von Leyden Bromsky. I can't remember your name, but you're a very famous spongiologist who has a particular penchant for particularly accurate grammar. And thank you, our wonderful listeners. And if you enjoy our podcast and continue to want to help us, then please do spread the word about the Neutral Cider Hotel. Tell your friends all about it and encourage them to listen. You can also follow, rate, and review us on your favorite podcast app. It really, really does help. And please find and follow us on the social media. We are Neutral Cider Hotel on Instagram and Facebook, Neutral Cider Pod on Twitter. As always, you can visit us on our website to listen online and to share episodes. www.neutralciderhotel.com is the address. And lastly, please do reach out. As you've heard, we had some fantastic messages this week. Leave us a voicemail with your questions or comments at speakpipe.com/Neutral Cider Hotel. Gentlemen, thank you all for another wonderful session. Looking forward to catching you next time. Wasso!
Really need to salvage my curls.